Thanks and welcome to the 6:15. I'm Kejang Henry Atembi. We begin with our top stories. A reignite crime scene that led to the death. Residents in Douala 5 are angry over frequent power cuts. They say the persistent outages develop revolting spirit. They have warned the authorities to make sure they address the situation, but the authorities are saying that this is due to overstretched electricity grid. And expectant mothers in Kumba now have renewed hope as a newly inaugurated maternity ward opens its doors to improve maternity and child health care in the southwest region. Top stories. Thanks and welcome back, and you can link us on our respective platforms on Canal International. We begin from Yaoundé, where 40 days after the brutal killing of Beatrice Mekar, a more than 67-year-old woman, the alleged suspect has been brought back to the crime scene for a reenactment of the act that was in Kolda. In fact, this was ordered by the state attorney, as we recount. Beatrice Ngamu.
Walking with confidence, that is how he made his way into this big building situated at Nkolda, Mfu, Mefu and Afamba division of the Central region. And directly he made his way upstairs like someone who mastered the house. His first encounter was with one of the grandsons on his way up. He rough-handled him, asking where the grandmother was. In fear and shock, the child directed him to her room. Finding her sleeping, he stabbed her 3 times, sending her to an early grave before the eyes of the grandchildren. He narrated, acted every step and move that fateful night of December 20, 2025, without remorse, but with great mastery, before the eyes of the state attorney, gendarmes and family members. The son-in-law got the sad news through a neighbor at around 8:30 p.m. same day and traveled back home from Bafoussam. The fear and shock, the trauma the grandchildren still live with till date. Investigation by the National Gendarmerie led to the arrest of the suspect, a recent escapee who had previously served 4 prison terms for similar offenses, murder and theft. His greatest fear, he says, is protection guarantee, not to be lynched by the angry mob waiting outside the house.
La seule chose que j'ai peur là maintenant, n'est-ce pas? Il veut que vous me rassurez qu'on ne va pas me taper. Mon capitaine, je vous parle quelque chose. Je veux que vous me rassurez qu'on ne va pas me taper.
The population came out in their number asking for justice. For they have been victims of numerous cases, resulting either to deaths or loss of valuable properties. Mama Beatrice Mekar Motaze was a widow living with her daughter, her husband and grandchildren. She will be buried next February the 5th, 2026.
Thanks very much, Beatrice Ngamu. Indeed. Meanwhile, it is a 22-year-old who drowned in Kenke River in Kribi, that is in the south region of the country. Ongwa Robert went swimming with his friends and never came back. Dee Morin recounts on that unfortunate scene.
It was a grim and emotional scene. Wednesday, January 28th, at the former snake site in the Ntombe neighborhood of Kribi, where residents gathered after the lifeless body of a young man was discovered floating in the waters of the Kenke River. The victim has been identified as Ombwa Robert, a 22-year-old young adult. According to witnesses, he had gone swimming in the Kenke River with friends when the tragic incident occurred. Although he lives in the Masaka neighborhood, barely 1.5 kilometers from the river, no one imagined that the outing would end in disaster. Omboa Robert was originally from Sola in the Bibinzi subdivision. He was no longer attending school and has spent most of his days assisting his mother with small household jobs. His mother, who spoke briefly after receiving the news, said she was deeply shocked, especially as her son had calmly said goodbye to her before leaving home with no sign that it would be their last farewell. Alerted, competent security and emergency services arrived at the scene, recovered the body and handed it over to the family. The remains were later transferred to the morgue for preservation.
Thanks, Maureen, and very sad day. Thanks very much, Maureen. And over in Douala, residents of Bonamusadi, that is in Douala 5 subdivision, are angry with the persistent or frequent power cuts. Now they are saying that the persistent outages is actually developing revolting spirit. Meanwhile, the authorities are equally saying that this is largely due to stretch or overstretched electricity grid. Details with Sheriff Saleh.
For weeks, households and business in Bonamusadi, Douala 5 have reported constant electricity cuts, with many residents saying they can no longer carry out normal activities.
Nous sommes en train de frôler la catastrophe parce que ça fait des années et des années que nous vivons ce délestage et ça ne finit pas. On nous a longtemps promis la fin du délestage.
C'est un calvaire pour nous autres, c'est-à-dire
It's a real ordeal for us in this area with repeated power outage. It prevents us at times to go about our different occupations and accept.
Coupure le matin jusqu'au soir, coupure le soir jusqu'au lendemain matin, chaque jour.
Shop owners complain of lost income, while families speak of damaged fridges, televisions, and other electrical equipment caused by unstable power supply. It's terrible this way. We can witness power outage 10 times daily. It is like power supply company has a remote control on us. A source within the Ministry of Water and Energy attributes the situation to the heavy saturation of Douala's electrical grid. The Makepe substation, which supplies much of Bonamusadi, is undergoing reinforcement works to increase capacity, but these are still in progress. According to the source, Makepe substation recorded about 3,750 outage-related complaints in 1 month, compared to 750 to 800 for other substations in Douala, reflecting demand far beyond current infrastructure capacity. To reduce pressure, some households are being transferred to the Deido substation, the only site with remaining capacity, but the process is slow. For some time now, electricity supply has been fluctuating and complicating. Regardless, we end up paying electricity bills without consuming. Load shedding, especially in the evenings, is caused by substation saturation and occasional network faults, leaving residents of Bonamusadi facing ongoing uncertainty and unreliable power supply.
Thanks, Sheriff. And we are equally seeing that expectant mothers in Kumba, that is in the southwest region of the country, now have renewed hopes after the inauguration of a maternity ward to make sure they address the issue of maternal and child health care in the southwest region. This is the fruit of a bond strengthening between Cameroon and the Republic of Turkey. This cooperation is expected to make sure they reduce childbirth risk. Once more, Sheriff Saleh.
The project is being described as a humanitarian intervention designed to restore access to safe maternal health care in a region that has faced years of weakened medical infrastructure.
This foundation stone was laid on Tuesday, 27th of January 2026 for the construction of a maternity ward at the Regional Hospital Annex, Kumba.
Implemented by the Turkish Cooperation and Coordination Agency, TICA, with support from the Turkish government, a maternity ward has been launched at the Regional Hospital Annex in Kumba, January 27, 2026.
I am so pleased when we went to the hospital. We have taken an engagement also as politicians of the town to make sure that we accompany that organization. When they build, we will equip. When they equip, we will build, so that our population can benefit. Turkey is a great partner to Cameroon. Do many things that will benefit the population of Kumba.
praying that there will be more things coming in the course of the couple of years coming ahead of us. But more importantly, Kumba is a big city in terms of being the crossroads in Meme Division.
The development carries strong symbolic value for residents, coming 7 years after a fire destroyed major part of the former Kumba District Hospital and left the community without vital health services.
We are working together tirelessly to bring back peace in this beloved Meme Division. Today, all of us are blessed to receive those high authority in Kumba.
Leaving Kumba is my constant repetition to myself from within that I should come here again.
During the project's launch, Turkey's ambassador to Cameroon, His Excellency Volkan Oskipper, reaffirmed his country's commitment to humanitarian cooperation, development support, and community resilience in Cameroon's southwest region.
Thanks very much, Sheriff Faisal. And Cameroon's maternity health care workforce has received a timely boost with 35 newly trained midwives that have graduated from Douala. The professionals were trained in the University of Buea and are expected to close the gaps. Once more, Sherifa.
They are 35 in number, young professionals who have successfully completed an intense program of practical and theoretical training in midwifery at the Midwifery School in Douala, an institution operating under the University of Buea.
In order to put into practice everything we've learned here and gain more experience.
After 3 years of rigorous apprenticeship and structured academic instruction, the graduates can now fully boast of a profession they are determined to uphold with commitment and professionalism. We have received quality training and I really hope that we put them into practice after leaving here.
During these 3 years of training, we faced so many difficulties, from finances to reaching this place with all the bad roads and everything. But with courage, engagement, we could face it all and then succeed in flying colors. Main ambition is to gain more experience and become a better midwife with time.
The midwives officially graduated on January 28 in Douala in a ceremony attended by authorities of the Ministry of Public Health alongside administrative officials, underscoring the national importance of strengthening healthcare workforce in Cameroon. Their graduation adds to national efforts aimed at improving access to quality healthcare and reducing maternal and infant mortality as Cameroon continues to invest in skilled health professionals to strengthen healthcare delivery at all levels.
The Central African Banking Commission, COBAC, has tightened the controls in the financial sector following the suspension of the authorization of about 70 microfinance institutions that are not respecting the rules. Ambo Gladys Dibang now takes a look on some of the shortcomings of these microfinance institutions.
More than 4 out of every 5 bad microfinance loans in the Central African sub-region are concentrated in Cameroon. That statistic partly explains why in 2024, COBAC withdrew the licenses of at least 70 microfinance institutions across the country. The regional banking watchdog says the sanctions followed persistent violations, including weak governance, poor internal controls, and failure to protect depositors' funds.
Je souhaiterais dire que
COBAC is the supervisory authority for financial institutions in the CEMAC zone. It has regulatory and sanctioning powers ranging from warnings to the withdrawal of licenses, which is the ultimate sanction and effectively ends an institution's activities.
À la cessation d'activité.
According to analysts, sanctions are often taken when there are cases of repeated breaches of prudential norms, including inadequate liquidity, insolvency, and disregards for regulatory injunctions based on international Basel standards.
We see the same problems recurring: excessive lending to insiders, weak credit committees, compromised internal audits, and a lack of transparency. All this creates opacity and exposes institutions to sanctions.
On arrive à une opacité.
The closures have often shaken public confidence, especially among small savers who rely heavily on microfinance institutions for access to credits.
COBAC is trying to show that they want to make it safe, the savings of many of these people or these clients or customers of microfinance. But it will be quite difficult for the people who are now customers of microfinance to keep being confident with this microfinance institution, because when the institutions are closed, it means that there are difficulties, there are problems, and this really affect the confidence the people have with this.
From January 1, 2026, COBAC further tightened oversight, raising minimum capital requirements to 25 billion francs CFA for banks and 4 billion francs CFA for other financial institutions. Those unable to comply by June 30th, 2026, risks facing the same disciplinary measures.
Thanks, Pierre Ambo Gladys. Meanwhile, the 9-year-old security crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of the country has had a toll on the downtrodden, many of whom are low-income earners. But then they are gradually picking up as microfinance institutions are helping them to salvage their situation. Northwest Chief Correspondent Annie Collins report.
The over 9-year-old security crisis has had a toll on the downtrodden masses in the northwest region, like this lady who lost almost everything but is gradually recovering thanks to community saving schemes like credit unionism.
This mobile kiosk to reach out to members wherever they are. Members does not need to come to the head office before they carry out their transaction, but they can carry out the transaction wherever they are.
At the 25th annual general meeting held in Bamenda recently, the Mitanyen Cooperative addressed the issue as it prepares to improve on interest rates, infrastructure and ICT services for the over 15,000 man strong membership in 2026.
We've also come out with a 3-year development plan, a structuring plan, as we are trying to phase out the crisis. And that 3-year development, the structuring plan has been approved by the Banking Commission, and we hope that every implementation of that plan is going to grow our activities up.
If we tackle that part of the budget, which is interest collection, we are going to be outstanding. That notwithstanding, the ambitious budget which was read out today at almost 1.4 billion is to already tell you the growth plans we have for 2026.
According to an audit report of an expert fiscalist, Mitanyen Cooperative Credit Union, even though wiping the tears of affected members, has had its own fair share of the downturns caused by the armed conflict.
Annie Collins reporting there from Northwest Region. Throwing the cuttings for this edition of the 6:15. I've been Kejan Henry at Timbe, thanking you for being there with us. Matthew Fangwa is just right ahead with the brief, the actuality sportive. From all of us, is goodbye.